Hello, and welcome to another episode of From the Green Room. I'm Brian Zelmer, Director of KU Presents here at Kutztown University in Kutztown, Pennsylvania. We hope you're enjoying this program. We bring them to you live every Wednesday at 4 p.m. And we speak with different performing arts professionals from throughout the industry, and we hope you're finding something useful from them. You're also invited to be part of this conversation. Just simply type your remarks or questions into the comment section, and we'll do our best to try to include them in the show. And happy St. Patrick's Day. How could I forget if you celebrate? Before we meet today's guests, who happen to be an Irish and folk band, I just want to let you know that we have a very big announcement that we'll be making later on in the program. So make sure you don't go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss this. Now, let's get to today's program. Hailing from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, this Celtic folk trio's repertoire includes modern roots music as well as traditional tunes from Ireland, France, Scotland, England, and America, some of which can be heard on their latest release, Land of Sunshine. Before I bring on Corey Purcell, Federico Betti, and Deirdre Lockman, here's a quick taste of Poor Man's Gambit.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up the hill and turn her down the rocky road, and all the way to Dublin, whack for Lollyrock. She was a rare thing, fine as a bee's wing, so fine a breath of wind might blow her way. She was a lost child, she was running wild. She said, as long as there's no price on love, I'll stay.
Hi guys, how are you?
Hi there.
Great. It's been great listening to you guys getting ready for today's program. And one thing that I know that's very different with you guys is all of your original tunes. And I don't know if you find that often with Celtic and Irish bands. A lot of people that we book, they kind of stick to the standards. And you guys covered that too, correct?
Yeah, we a lot of the stuff that we try to do is kind of more off the beaten path, but we do try to incorporate some standards and things that people will recognize as well.
Great. So where do you guys know each other from? How did you get together and form as a group?
Well, it's a good story, but we had a different lineup kind of in the beginning, I think, as most bands do. And so when I was looking for a substitute fiddle player, because our fiddle player at the time had a neck injury, some mutual friends kind of connected me with Deirdre, and she filled in for one gig and still here, at least 2 years later. And Federico, just after he moved here from Ireland, I saw a video of him online, I think at the same time that he said he saw a video of me online, and I was looking for a substitute guitar player, so I just shot him a message. It was like, why is this guy contacting me? This is super weird, but we hit it off, and we work well together musically and interpersonally, so it seems to work.
Great. Federico, welcome to the program. I'm going to ask each of you this, but what are your musical influences? Have you always been into the folk music and creating Celtic music, or are there other things that you were into at one time?
Well, I grew up listening to Metallica.
Okay, that's awesome.
Heavy metal. Yeah. When I was a teenager, and then by my late teens, I just fell in love with Irish music. It just hit me, and I started to play the fiddle. And then eventually, that was back in Milan, where I grew up.
Okay.
And then I moved to Ireland just to know more about it. I ended up staying there for 20 years.
Wow, that's fantastic.
And so I've been into Irish music for the last 25 years, I suppose.
Wow. What an extreme from metal to Irish music.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Corey and Deirdre, how about you guys? Who wants to go first?
Yes, I will. My mother is 100% Irish. She had 6 older siblings born in Ireland. She was the first one here. So she grew up just kind of involved in that culture. And when she met my dad, who he's always been a musician, but mostly on the classical side of things, but he fell in love with Irish music. So he knew, like, once he had kids, they were all going to play classical music and Irish music. So when I was 4, I started taking violin lessons with a woman who also plays Irish fiddle. So I got like the mix right away. And so I just grew up listening to a bunch of the Irish bands that were popular, Altan and Jonta and Kevin Burke and all those people.
Do you guys continue, not you guys, Deirdre, do you continue with the classical as well, or are you pretty much just focused on the Irish and the folk now?
Yeah, I studied it really seriously, like all through high school. And then once I started playing with bands, I mostly just did the Irish music. I stayed with some, I kept playing classical music for any weddings that I would get hired for. But just recently, I got back into it and started studying my classical a little more. But it's mostly Irish now these days.
Okay, cool. Corey, what's your story?
Well, probably my biggest influence growing up was my father's band from Reading, actually, called the Shanakians, and they played a lot of Irish music. And from the time that I was born, I was, running around the floor, crawling around the floor, I guess, as it was, practicing over at the house. So I got a good dose of it pretty early. And when I was 4, my mother forced me into Irish dance classes, which I completely was not my thing. I hated it. But I grew to love it. It took a while. Probably by the time I was 16, I was actually enjoying what I was doing. And that's the same time that I got into the music seriously. My family had like a family band when I was growing up. So, I was always involved musically, but I really kind of took off with it when I turned 16 and bought myself a recording.
Nice. And you dance during the shows that you put on, correct? Sometimes?
Yeah, usually. So it depends on the setting, but yeah, as long as there's space, and I'm not going to be knocking over tables. So I usually...
Cool. Can you guys maybe talk a little bit about the instruments you play? I know you have your primary instrument name after your name, but on the screen. But you all play multiple instruments, correct?
Well, Deirdre just plays fiddle.
And I sing a little bit.
Sing.
But yeah, instrument one, just fiddle.
Okay.
But yeah, Federico and I kind of swap back and forth. Usually, there's some times that we're both playing backup or corded instruments. So that would be the guitar and the bouzouki or cittern, as it were. So usually he's playing guitar when I'm playing the button accordion, and then he's playing fiddle when I'm playing the cittern, which would usually be for songs. But we try to mix it up, just, keeps people's ears fresh. So you're kind of hearing something new, every few songs or so.
Cool. Federico, you already talked about how you got into the Irish music and things, but do you find it hard with you guys being labeled a Celtic band to break out of certain boxes or molds? Like, I'm sure you guys have a lot of work this time of year with St. Patrick's Day, but do you guys find the same kind of work in the summer? Is it only like Irish festivals, or are you finding that you guys do other work as well?
Well, I find we play not only Celtic festivals, but like folk festivals. They're not necessarily Celtic. And for me, like, we're just playing the music we like, so it can be from anywhere. And when I lived in Ireland, I found Irish musicians like to be influenced by all sorts of different genre of music. So there's music from Brittany, France, which is very close to Ireland. They play that quite a lot. And then Irish music is influenced by jazz, by rock. And so for me, we just play,
Do you pop into pubs? Because I've met a lot of Irish musicians, and they talk about the scene in the pubs, how you can go to different pubs and they have different, what is it called? Like themes, I guess, for lack of a better word, where you can go in and just show up with an instrument and jam with people.
The sessions, yeah, definitely. Yeah, in fact, before coming to the US, I didn't even know there were Irish music sessions in the US. Okay. I thought I wasn't going to play Irish music anymore because But in fact, the sessions here is very similar to the sessions in Ireland, and the culture is very much alive here too.
Corey and Deirdre, do you guys find, similar question, just being labeled again as a Celtic band, that it might maybe put up some walls or some barriers in getting some work in certain times of the year, or?
I mean, it's definitely a niche genre. It's not quite as versatile as just folk or rock or something. But I mean, there's so many people that love Irish music, so we get hired all year long for like weddings and like small like listening rooms. Like people appreciate Irish music any time of the year. We get Christmas gigs because Irish Christmas is like a popular demand on Christmas. So no, I mean, we don't really like run into any barriers with it. It is a little limiting sometimes, it's not too often that a very Celtic or very Irish band headlines a folk festival, but we still get to play all kinds of places.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. Corey, now with the pandemic, I know you guys were playing all over the country and all over the world before the pandemic. How has this affected you guys? Did you completely stop, or did you try the live streaming thing? I mean, it must have been really difficult being artists during this time.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was kind of, it's been ups and downs, as soon as the pandemic hit, which was of course right before St. Patrick's Day in 2020, which the timing could not possibly have been worse. Our entire schedule was wiped clean. My phone was ringing off the hook with people who had booked us calling to say, we need to cancel or postpone or reschedule. And, it was kind of demoralizing at that point. Safety comes first. And we did experiment with some live stream things. It's definitely not the same. I think any performing artist will tell you, whether they're a musician or a dancer or, anything, that, you kind of feed off of the audience. And when the audience is there, but they're there virtually, it's a very different atmosphere. So we didn't, I'd say we didn't truly embrace the virtual performance aspect. Not to say we haven't done a few of them, and I think we still have a few more on our schedule, but it's just not the same. So I really can't wait to get back to,
I mean, we take any request if someone says they want us to do something virtual, and we do it.
Gotcha.
But we haven't done a whole lot just on our own initiative. Yeah,
okay.
Hard.
Understandable, and I feel for you guys. The good news is everyone's talking about the light at the end of the tunnel that people are starting to see, and we're actually starting to see it here too. In fact, we have a big announcement to make, and it includes you guys. We are starting off a new series called Arts Alive, where we get to have some in-person, limited but in-person audience, as well as live streaming a concert. We have 3 different performances lined up for outside. It's going to be behind Schaefer Auditorium, and for those who are comfortable coming here. And then, of course, we're going to also live stream it for those who still want to watch it from home. But they're going to be outdoor, socially distanced performances behind Schaefer Auditorium, as I said. They're going to be free and open to the public, and we are asking for people to buy a ticket because we will have limitations as far as capacity. So this is one way we can keep that, making sure we don't go over limits. But also, it's a way to just let people know they can support our program if they'd like to and they're able to. And we'll be kicking off the first one April 16th with you guys, Poor Man's Gambit. How exciting is that? I know you've gotten a few other gigs on the horizon as well. And I just want to just say I'm super excited about getting back to live in-person shows. And we'll talk more about it in a second. But first, I want to just show this little clip of our entire lineup. So just bear with me. We'll be right back. KU Presents is excited to announce the return to live in-person performances with a series titled Arts Alive. This series includes 4 performances over the course of the last 3 Fridays in April. You can attend these outdoor performances in person or virtually from anywhere via the live stream. While this series is free and open to the public, tickets will be required to maintain capacity limits for in-person and to obtain the access link for joining digitally. We kick things off on Friday, April 16th with the Irish and Celtic music of Poor Man's Gambit. Then, on Friday, April 23rd, we explore iconic rock and pop songs from the 60s and 70s as they are reimagined through jazz with the group Living Standards. And on Friday, April 30th, we present a double feature, starting the evening with the Latin rhythms of the Tierra Caliente. Quiero agua sin hielo. Quiero agua sin hielo. And we close the evening and our short series with a contemporary ballet performance by Sharp Dance Company. The performances begin at 6 p.m. each week. Get your tickets now or learn more by going to kupresents.org. That's kupresents.org. And we'll see you at Schaefer. Very cool. I'm very excited about all of this. So hopefully you can join us, and we'll see you outside or online. So how exciting, guys. We're talking about live in-person concerts again. Do you have other gigs coming up as well that are in person, or just kind of talking about it so far?
We do have some other in-person things coming up, and I just want to take a minute to say the way that you guys are doing it is definitely the way that I think things will hopefully proceed, just in terms of you have a live audience and a live stream aspect, because it opens the potential for people who are not, in the locality of that performance to tune in and be able to get to it, and also hopefully be able to support venues as well, with donations or ticket prices and whatever. And if there's anything good that came out of the pandemic, I'm hoping that it's that, and that people can continue to live stream or even just record concerts and then make them available online. I think that would be a really great aspect. Well, so in terms of live shows, let me think. We don't have anything specific in terms of public concerts. We have a few private performances that are coming up, and we did just finish a weekend that was pretty busy with our first live gigs in a while. So that was very refreshing and good to get back out there.
Nice. Now, were you guys meeting during the pandemic, or even just touching base online? Obviously, Corey and Deirdre, you guys are together, but have you been able to play with Federico during this time, or has it just been separation?
For some of the live streams, obviously we had to get together for that. So yeah, and we would try and run a rehearsal. We'd get together a little early and run over some things. We haven't gotten together a whole lot, though. I mean, in the winter, it's really hard. We don't want to spend a whole lot of time indoors with other people outside the household. But we got together when we needed to for live streams. And with contacts on calls and stuff.
Federico, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. About live in-person shows.
Well, definitely, having a big audience in front of you clapping. Well, that's probably the main thing, and just the human interactions, because this music is all about interacting with people. And also I find I teach music as well online, since the pandemic started, and that's kind of similar thing where you can play together with someone else online, and it's very difficult to do that, and so it makes it very robotic. And so that's it. So looking forward to.
Yeah, we definitely miss that.
That's great, and I'm sure they miss you too. So it's going to be really exciting. Looking back, this is a question from the commercial music program. We always take a question from our commercial music students. It actually is similar to what I just asked, but they were wondering what's your most memorable experiences about playing anywhere that you've played before. What's your most memorable experience from being on stage? You can each maybe, tell us a little brief thing about one of your favorite experiences on stage or traveling, or maybe somebody put you up at a really awesome hotel, or who knows, whatever. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
I think, I can go first. There's a specific gig that really stands out, at least in my mind, probably Federico well. Our first, or Federico's first gig with us, Deirdre's maybe third gigs. We were all pretty new to playing together. We didn't really know each other that well. We had maybe 2 or 3 rehearsals with that. And we were hired for a wedding in West Virginia. And the road trip was definitely something I'll never forget. We had some issues with our navigation plans. And yeah, I think it did that thing where if you plug in, a smaller town that may not be as well known, it like will autocorrect you to the nearest large town.
Oh, no.
And so yeah, it did that, and we were on our way there. We got a call from the wedding coordinator saying, "Hey, making sure you guys are on track." And I think it's when we were sitting in a restaurant eating lunch quickly that we realized that we probably had an additional hour to go than we thought we were going to have. And the time crunch was on. We had borrowed my dad's minivan to go up and down these crazy mountains in West Virginia. Federico's trying to look at a physical map because our phones had absolutely no service. And we wound up pulling up just as the wedding guests were arriving. And luckily, we were playing the cocktail hour acoustically, so we just kind of threw everything together and started. Federico was able to get the sound system set up for the actual ceremony, and everything just kind of came together.
Wow.
It doesn't even stop there.
Oh, no.
We our gas tank on empty when we rolled up. So when we're leaving, we had to ask for directions. We had no service. And they told us where the nearest gas station was. Well, of course, we got those directions horribly confused and wound up driving around in the backwoods of West Virginia for an hour with the gas light on. I don't know how it lasted that long.
Wow.
And so, gas station. So it was a very, very memorable.
In our defense, the directions were something like, "Oh, you follow that white fence until you see the big tree, and then you turn this way." And it was
Oh, my gosh.
Very Irish.
Sounds like you didn't run out of gas and get stranded somewhere in the middle of the
honestly,
forest.
that day we were on it all day. The wedding itself was like a beautiful wedding. The music went, like, everything was like perfect. We were just getting there and leaving there. Yeah.
Keeps you on your toes. But
Stories
that's
from
my
the road.
great. I don't know if these guys have something else.
I just in general, I like shows where there are little kids dancing. Adults are definitely more reserved generally, unless it's like the end of a night at a crazy festival, people are all out dancing, but kids just really seem to love the music and the dance. It just makes it a lot of
Cool. Federico, you got a story?
I'm just thinking about festivals I liked since I came to the US. We went to Austin, Texas to play the Austin Celtic Festival. And there was a band from Ireland as well. So it was nice to see people from Ireland playing in the US and meet all the other musicians and have a session together with all the musicians. So that I remember was quite nice time. And it was always warm and the climate was quite nice. And it was November, but it was, felt nice. So.
Nice. I hear that a lot from festival musicians that, musicians that get to play festivals, one of their favorite things is getting to hear other artists, because a lot of times on the road, you're alone, just hopping to venue. And so you get to see other artists play and play. A lot of times they have jam sessions and you get to play together. And it's always fun. Yeah. Now, speaking of playing together, you guys recently put out an album, Land of Sunshine. What can you tell me about it?
well, we keep calling it our recent album, but we released it just before the shutdown last January. But it's still pretty new. It's fresh to us. It's fresh to our audience. So,
is it similar to what you'll be playing here at your concert at Kutztown?
Oh yeah. Most of the stuff that's on the CD we'll be playing live, and I mean probably mixing in some things off of past albums and maybe some stuff that we haven't recorded yet.
And these are primarily original tunes again, right? But inspired by traditional folk, or is it a little bit of mix of both?
A lot of it is traditional.
Okay.
Some of the songs were written more recently by contemporary songwriters. There's just a few original tunes. We're still kind of new to that. But yeah, it's unusual, I guess, for traditional musicians to write their own stuff, but it's also not uncommon. It's a way to kind of set yourself apart, like, oh, this is my music.
So I'm not well versed on Celtic music things, but I know there's reels and rags and what else, trads or something. What can the audience expect when they come to it or see the show or tune in?
The most common tunes, like, they're all dance tunes. So you've got reels and jigs are probably the ones people know the most. And then there's hornpipes and slip jigs and all kinds of polkas and those kind of tunes. And then other songs.
Great. We're just about out of time. Is there a certain way that you want the audience to tune in to check you guys out, to find out about your Land of Sunshine CD or any of your past CDs?
Well, we do have a website, so if anybody goes to poormansgambit.com, we try to keep it up to date with any upcoming performances, which I did think, since you asked before of any live upcoming performances, we have a pre-recorded concert that should be airing on St. Patrick's Day. So we still have time, time to be determined, but sometime today. And we also did a pre-recorded show at Longwood Gardens. We had a good relationship with them over the past few years, so they had us in to record some stuff there. So we're not sure when that's airing. They said shortly after St. Patrick's Day, so probably in the next week or two, we should have some word on that. So
nice.
They check
Such
out
a beautiful place. Where in the gardens did you record?
Oh, in the conservatory. Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, they. It was a day that there were no guests there, so it was just us. So it was gorgeous.
That must have been a really cool experience too.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was for sure.
So if you check out our website or our Facebook page, that'll find that.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and I look forward to hosting you guys soon. Again, on April 16th, you guys can come. Everyone's welcome to tune in. You can check our website and get your virtual ticket, if you will, and you can either join us live in person or you can join us again at the virtual page that will be created. Thank you guys. We'll see you guys soon. Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks.